everybody. Thank you so much for joining this session. We're so excited to talk a little bit more about developing for spectacles. We're here to explore the exciting world of AR through Snap Spectacles, and we are joined by some amazing spectacles developers to dive into the details a bit. Let's start with some introductions to the lovely ladies that have joined me on stage. Shan Jiang is a game producer at Niantic based in California, where she plays a key role in developing augmented reality experiences with Peridot across mobile, head-mounted displays, and outdoor-friendly AR glasses like specs. Shan holds a master's degree in entertainment technology from Carnegie Mellon University. Prior to joining Niantic, she served as a production fellow at Shell Games and completed engineering internships at Unity Technologies and Psychic VR Lab in Japan. Welcome, Shan. Welcoming also Laura Chambers. Laura is a design engineer at Snap, based in Los Angeles, California. As a member of the Snap Lab production team, Laura designs and builds AR experiences for specs with a focus on multiplayer connected lenses. Laura has degrees in kinesiology from Queen's University and mechatronics engineering from University of Waterloo, and has worked on wearables ranging from focal smart glasses at North, which was acquired by Google, to the Vision Pro at Apple. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you so much.
And to give you a little bit of background on myself, I'm Addison. I am a spectacles producer at Snap. For the past 3 years, I have had the privilege of collaborating with external developers to create and bring lens experiences to life on Snap. Since 2021, I have been able to oversee the production of several lenses that are on spectacles today to help push the boundaries of augmented reality. I'm passionate about leveraging AR to make the ordinary extraordinary. Oh, thank you. Today, we're going to explore what it means to build on Snap Spectacles. We'll be hearing firsthand from these developers who have done just that. From concept to execution, we'll unpack the creative process, the technical capabilities, and the rewards of developing for Snap AR. Our panelists have worked on a special lens. They've each worked on their own special lens. Laura with Council and Shan with Paradot. We're going to explore their journeys and their learnings along the way. To give the audience a bit more context, Shan, could you tell me a bit about Peridot?
Yeah, so I've already seen some familiar faces that I saw yesterday and this morning who already tried Paradot Beyond. I want to say thank you for trying it out, and I see people wearing specs in the audience. So some more information about Paradot Beyond is we released at the Snap Partner Summit last month, and it is using what we have from the Peridot mobile game, and then we created an actual true AR experience that you can wear with the Snap Spectacles. In the game, you will own a Peridot. You will actually, like, if you wear the glasses, you actually see it in front of you. You could go pet the dot. You could play catch game with it. You could find food and then feed it. It has really cute animations. And then the reason why we did this collaboration is because Peridot Mobile is already an AR-first experience. You could download it on App Store. If you open up your phone, you'll see a dot in front of you. And then we thought that's like a natural transition if you wear glasses and you see it in front of you. That would be more immersive. So in the Paradot Beyond experience, you actually see some unique gameplay that is not available in the other headset experience that we created.
Thank you. And Laura, could you tell me a bit about Council?
Yeah, Council is an experience that we built also over the Snap Partner Summit that Shan mentioned. So the Snap Partner Summit happened last month, and we really wanted to show just all the things that spectacles can do. So we made this lens. It was designed by Devlin, who's an incredible artist and stage designer. And I had the absolute pleasure of building the lens for spectacles. The experience itself took place in this giant yellow dome. We welcomed 12 guests at a time into the dome. It was a connected, what we call a connected lens, which is a multiplayer experience. And the experience itself was made up of 3 parts. So it's inspired by a practice at Snap that we call Council. And yeah, like I mentioned, there were 3 parts to the experience. The first one was what we called Story. So it was a narrated story of kind of the origin of life on Earth. So it started with this big bang, and then went through a bunch of assets, fish, birds, ending in the Earth in the center of this circle that the 12 guests were sitting in, rotating. And at that point, a council facilitator, who was also in the dome with the guests, invited guests to reflect on what they had just witnessed and think of an intention that they had for the world. And each guest, one by one, went around the circle, and they said their intention out loud. And it was visualized in text in front of them, and then that text orbited around the Earth. So it created this really beautiful kind of shared word cloud. So that was part 2, council, and then the third part was kind of an interactive play experience. So the intentions, they faded out. The Earth kind of shrank down, took its place in the solar system. The sun spawned, the planets spawned, and guests were invited to play with the planets and comets and asteroids and have this interactive experience together. And again, this was all shared. This was all happening in the same physical space where 12 guests could interact with AR elements, see each other interact with those elements, and play together. So it was a huge technical, huge creative challenge, and I was, so happy to be part of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very familiar with the Paradot experience as we worked on it, and the council experience I got to try at our launch, and both were very impressive, so fantastic work. Building for spectacles is a very unique experience. The form factor and the capabilities kind of shape the way that you build. Could you tell me a little bit about your experience?
Sure, yeah. The things that I love about spectacles, I worked on different wearables before, ranging from kind of heads-up displays to full VR headsets. The thing that I really love about spectacles, and I think is really unique, is this combination of factors. So one, it's pass-through AR. You're seeing your real world. You're seeing AR in your actual space. 2, it's untethered, so you can walk around with it. You're not confined to your couch or a chair. You can get up and move around. And the third is shared. This is very close to my heart. Connected lenses are what I spend most of my time working on. So it's just such a special experience when you can see AR and your friend is seeing that same content. You can pass things around. You can see what both of you are doing, and you can also look each other in the eye and have eye contact, have conversations, and laugh together. So that's what I love about spectacles the most, is that combination of factors that makes it really unique.
Yeah, it doesn't take you out of your world, it just enhances it around you, and you get to interact with other people. Shan, what about you?
So I want to mention that Snap Spectacles is a very lightweight AR glasses you could put on your head. It's not like a strap that you have to go over your head. And you will be also able to see the real world instead of through the pass-through camera feed. So it's the real world plus some AR elements added to it. And while we're building for this, we do have to consider outdoor and indoor experiences, because Snap Specs is encouraging people to go outside with this, and then you can turn on the sunglass mode on, so it will actually darken the image a little bit. But it does interfere with our experiences when the lighting changes. When it's dark, or you have one light on when the sun is down, the hand tracking might not work as compared to when the sun is up and then you have 5 lights in your room. So we did have to consider for that. And then we also had to consider different movements. When I'm sitting like this, and then when I'm standing up, it's totally different when we show our Peridot. And then when you're walking up the stairs, when you go down the stairs, elevation changes, we also have to consider that. And lastly, I want to mention that because it is AR glasses, you don't have controllers. It's fully hand-based, so we do have to create the intuitive hand gestures that people can use. For example, the system uses pinch, poke, and then pinch and drag, and none of that can be replicated from the controller gestures. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Lens Studio is at the heart of every experience. It is our own AR platform that developers use to build these experiences. I would love to hear from you both. What are your favorite tools on Lens Studio?
Yeah, so I actually asked our team about this because I wasn't really present in the Lens Studio editor as a producer. So I have notes from our tech director that I'm going to represent him well. So some of his favorite lens in Lens Studio include the preview, the logger for debugging, the scene hierarchy, and the inspector. So he said it forms the foundation for efficient iteration and debugging. And the ability to quickly send to device is also a huge advantage because it makes the testing process so easy. Because you do have to quickly iterate on it and then send to different team members. We have team members across the country, and then we're all remote in that sense. So it's really important for the design people to see it and then immediately give feedback to the engineer and then create a back and forth loop. And then some other things he mentioned is that the prefab functionality is another key tool and allows us to set up more robust scenes. And the package system and source control also makes updates easier. And the asset library, this just goes on. The asset library provides an ecosystem where developers can share functionalities, which makes collaboration smoother across the team.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, the quick to launch is a big aspect that other developers share with us. It's very unique in its sense that Lens Studio is a full stack that you can very quickly launch from to spectacles, and that definitely gets brought up a lot. So I'm glad he shared. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Is Lens Studio is built for Snap devices. It's also closely integrated. So whether you're building on mobile or you're building for spectacles, Lens Studio is built specifically for that purpose. So whether it's pushing to device, all the tools that are in the editor, you don't have to kind of like figure out what it is that you need and then go find it. Like it's all just right there. I love Lens Studio. I spend like every day, all day in Lens Studio. The things that I use every day and love, and if you build on spectacles, you will also come to love them. First and foremost is Spectacles Interaction Kit. So this is a framework that we put together to make it easy to get those like kind of default interactions out of the box. So you don't have to worry about scripting, like pinching a button or hooking all of that up. That comes in Spectacles Interaction Kit. So whether it's like our direct pinch, our main interactions are like direct pinch, targeting, and far field pinch, scrolling, all that kind of stuff is in Spectacles Interaction Kit. The thing also, again, I'm going to talk about connected lenses the whole time because that's what I love. And again, connected lenses are multiplayer experiences. That has improved so much in Lens Studio 5.0. So actually, I think at AWE in Long Beach, I think I'm saying this right, Lens Studio 5.0 was launched officially. It's been in beta for about a year. And the huge thing that just like for my developer quality of life went up so much is the ability to test connected lenses right in the editor. So I worked on, previously when I was working with the old generation of spectacles and I would build multiplayer lenses, there was like some testing functionality, but basically what you would see me, like if you were to walk past my desk on any given day, you'd see me with at least like 2 pairs of spectacles on my face that I'd be pushing lenses to, and then I'd be like moving them around and testing stuff. But now with the new Lens Studio, I can test connected lenses right in the editor. I can open multiple preview panels, and each preview panel is simulating a different user. So I can like test that all my interactions are working. SIK responds to like mouse interactions, so you can test those in the editor too. So I can be like pretty confident that everything is working before I do go and push to device and then test on device, which like absolutely you have to do. But that was a huge factor. And then one more thing I'll mention, also for connected lenses, but in general, is the scene inspector, which I think you also mentioned. What this lets you do is, as you're running your lens in the editor, you can pause the preview panel and then go over to your scene hierarchy and see everything that's there at that moment in time in the lens. So if you're instantiating objects at runtime, if you're having something happen for only one player and not another, I can go into the scene hierarchy and see exactly what's happened. So where exactly is that object that I instantiated? What is its parent? Is its position what I expect it to be? Is it scale? All of that kind of stuff is so helpful to me as a developer. Yeah.
Thank you. There are a lot of challenges when it comes to developing for AR. It's an evolving field, so you are developing on a developing product. And that can come with some great learnings, some challenges. I would like to hear from you, Laura. What are the challenges that you found when working on specs?
Yeah, specs, the form factor offers so many advantages, but it is also, it does mean there's some trade-offs in the things that you need to keep in mind as a developer. So one is definitely performance. So if you are expecting, to run all these super complicated shaders at one time, you're probably not going to be able to do that. So you do need to keep in mind performance, optimizing your assets when it comes to, vertices and meshes, the amount of calculations that are happening in shaders. We have best practices also. So if you check out developers.snap.com, there's some best practices there for optimizing your lenses. There's also tools in Lens Studio for the purpose of helping you understand the performance of your lenses and how to optimize. So one is the Spectacles Monitor. So you can open that up. And as your lens is running, you can see the thermals, and you can see the power draw that's happening. So you can see, if there's a spike in power, you might know, OK, like this asset I need to go take a look at. You can also turn on a performance overlay on spectacles. So that way, as you're running your lens on device, you'll be able to see the FPS. So again, if you're looking at an asset with a shader and you see a drop in FPS, you'll be like, OK, I need to go take a look at that asset and optimize it where I can. And this was super important for council. This experience really kind of it was very asset heavy. It ran for about 10 minutes, and that whole time there was just a lot of stuff going on. So the super talented team that I worked with who actually made the assets, they went through every single asset, testing it on device, looking at power, thermals, FPS, and then going through all of the components of the assets to make sure that they were optimized. And that way we were able to have we got comments on council that wow, the graphics, they were just so vivid there. And we were able to do that because we took special attention to optimize them. And then the other one that's super important is the field of view. So you want to design your lens to work with the field of view. Don't have it work against you, have it work with you. So one thing that we ran into with council was the guests were seated in a circle, and then all of the content was in the center of the circle. And the way that the experience started, the beginning of that origin story that I mentioned was a big bang. So we were we really have to knock people's socks off, it has to be a really wow moment. So our first attempt at that was just making the asset really just picture the Big Bang, right? It's gonna expand out. There are particles flying out at you. And our first thought was make it bigger, make it brighter. But what that did was it just totally filled the field of view, and then it really kind of took you out of the experience because you could see the limits of the field of view. So what we did was, scale that back down, and it actually was more of a wow moment when that Big Bang asset fit within the field of view, and you could really appreciate it and have perspective. So yeah, work with the field of view rather than kind of working against it.
100%. That is actually one of the biggest tips that I give to developers is build with the field of view in mind. You can build within it very easily, or you can overwhelm the user quite quickly, and it's a pretty fine line in doing that. Shan, I'd also love to hear from you on any challenges that you came across on the journey. Yeah,
so Laura definitely covered most of what I also want to mention, so I'm going to keep my points short. So in the challenges, we do want to optimize our performance because Paradot Beyond was a very, I would say, comparatively long experience in the specs. What we did is we definitely have to optimize for assets, and then we have to unfortunately cut the pretty tails our Peridot have. They don't have tails in the AR glasses, unfortunately. And in the asset optimization and everything we do to keep the file size small, we don't want to drain the power too quickly. I don't want you to see the Peridot for 1 minute and then your battery dies. And then we also don't want to overheat the device. Because when it overheats, this part gets really hot. We also don't want to do that, so I would emphasize the importance for the optimization.
For sure. What advice would you give to beginners? It has a bit of a learning curve, but then once you get into Lens Studio, I feel like people can pick it up pretty quickly. But what is one piece of advice, Shan, that you have found that could be helpful for a beginner?
Yeah, so for the advice, I also consulted our design lead and all of our engineering teams. So I have a very long list. We want to set everybody up for success. I'm going to go along the list. So our team's advice for beginner developers is to first always prioritize user comfort when designing for the spectacles. So ergonomics matter. So and then be mindful of the arm and neck position. So some gestures in our game doesn't work like this. You do have to do this to see the purple menu. So that is something that you need to test in in a real-world situation. You cannot test in the computer flat screen. And then the next one is we do recommend guiding users on where to look to account for the limited field of view. Visual indicators can guide attention, and then the important content should always be like in the middle of the field of view, so you make sure people see it, or it can follow your head, so there's no chance to miss it. And then echoing the challenges I mentioned earlier, it is very important to test in situations like a cluttered room, like you have like bookshelves here, couches there, and then a lot of boxes. Those things will like the AR experience there will be different like if you're in an empty room. So it's very important to test that. And make sure you have like fallbacks for low light situations. You don't want your experience to crash if you can't like detect hand gesture and those things. And then from technical perspective, our engineers do recommend starting with a grasp of what the programming language offers, and then how to structure data in Lens Studio using familiar coding patterns. And another suggestion from our engineering team is to keep your scene hierarchy clean. So this makes debugging and performance tuning a lot more easier. And finally, get comfortable with source control, as a lot of developers should know, because they will be huge help in managing changes and working efficiently across teams.
I'm so glad you were able to talk to the Niantic team. They're so talented, and they have so many great insights, so I'm so glad everyone was able to collaborate and give some input. That's so interesting. Thank you. And then, Laura, same for you.
Yeah, I'd give, I guess, some very practical step-by-step advice. Number one, if you're getting started on spectacles or an AR, go download Lens Studio. It's available to everybody. Yeah. So just go to the Snap website, download Lens Studio. You can get started today. From there, you can also check out our documentation for spectacles specifically. There's some really great documentation that's been put together for designing for spectacles. It has like really granular information too, like what size should your buttons be? If you have content at this distance, what size should it be? If it's this farther out, what size should it be? All that kind of stuff. So that's a really, really great place to start. There's also a YouTube video, so go check that out. And then once you get into Lens Studio, there's a Spectacles starter project. It comes with Spectacles Interaction Kit right in there already. So you can open up the project and you can start playing around right away. So you can start manipulating objects. You can go look at how those components are put together. And that'll start to guide you on how you can start making your own custom interactions and logic. And then also, go join the Spectacles Reddit. So there's a Reddit that's been started. People are sharing captures of the experiences that they're building, like as they're in progress, getting feedback. So go check that out. Like number one, just for inspiration. It's really cool to see what people are building. You might get an idea of like, oh, I like that interaction. And then go and just try and build it. I find for myself, I learn by doing. So I might not know how to do something yet, but it's like going through the process of figuring out that makes it really stick for me. So whether you're coming from a different programming language, if you're coming from a different platform, get started, just start playing around. Like Lens Studio is a really approachable tool. There's a lot that you can do. It's very powerful. But with the Spectacles starter project, you can very quickly start playing around and start making your own stuff.
Thank you. And then I have two questions left, so we might have to be quick about it. But I would love to hear one memorable moment from each of your experiences.
I can go first?
Yeah.
So for connected lenses, we like to say that one of my sales pitches for connected lenses is that it brings people together. You know, spectacles are designed to bring people together. I can say it is, as a developer, building connected lenses also really brings people together because you're going to need people to help you test your lens. So in the beginning, when I was quickly iterating on things, what I would do is set up a couch with a bunch of pillows, and I would put spectacles on each of the pillows. These are my pillow friends. So I would test something out, do something on my specs, swap them out. But eventually, that wasn't enough. I needed other people to help me test. We have offices here in Vienna throughout Europe also, and it ended up being such a huge advantage having teams both in California, where I'm based, and teams here in Europe, because we got to a point where we could have test sessions going basically 24 hours a day. So what would happen is I would test with a group in Los Angeles. We'd find some bugs. I'd do some fixes in the afternoon, and in the evening, I would send a build over to our team here in Vienna. Some of them are here, and then I'd go to bed. And overnight, they'd be testing the lens, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd get, here are some bug reports, here are some ideas, we debugged this and we think this is how you can fix it. And it just made me, for me personally, it was just so fun because through this process of building connected lenses, I also just got to know the team so much better. So,
and for you, Shan?
Yeah, for me, I'll keep it very quick. So I have a pet at home, and then we're building an AR pet experience. You can imagine, so we have the gesture that you can crouch to pet the virtual pet. So you can imagine when I crouch, my dog would come over and then think I'm going to pet her. But unfortunately, I was petting the virtual friend that she cannot see. And then we also have the catch game where you throw the disc. If you see people doing that, they're doing the catch game. And you can imagine how dogs react to this. She initially thought I was doing some imaginary tricks, but she quickly figured out that I wasn't interacting with her. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you all so much for joining and learning more about spectacles. Give a big hand to our developers. Thank you. If you'd like to learn more about spectacles, please visit the Snap booth to ask any questions or visit spectacles.com. Thank you.